Shabbat Shalom. I want to share with you an incredible insight that we learn from a change in the text of the Torah. The beauty of Hebrew is that every single word has meaning. And when we read the text in English, we miss some of the nuances of the text. Let's dive into Parshat Naso, and let me share with you one of the most incredible insights that I've learned this year. At the beginning of Bamidbar, we are told about the different Nesiim, the different princes who led the Jewish people through the desert. One of the names was from the tribe of Gad. His name was Elyasaf ben Deuel. Elyasaf, the son of Deuel. The word Deuel means the one who knows God. What an incredible name of his father. And then later on, he's constantly referred to as Elyasaf ben Deuel, except in one place. In the Parshat Bamidbar, when it's describing the setup of the camp of Israel, there's a little change in the text where the Daled and the Resh are interchanged. And instead of his name being Deuel, his name is changed to Reuel. Now, what's the difference between Deuel and Reuel? You may say to me, Rabbi, that's a little bit of a... The answer is, the word Reuel means the friend or the beloved one of God. So what was so special about Elyasaf ben Deuel that he gets the name Elyasaf ben Reuel? That's the question. I'd like to share with you an insight. When the camp of Israel is established, we are taught the following. In the center of the camp was to be the Mishkan, the sanctuary, the tabernacle. Surrounding them, the next box, were going to be the three families of the house of Levi, plus Moshe and Aaron. And then on each of the sides was a third section where the tribes of Israel, divided up in the four directions, 3 tribes each. And we look at the names of the heads of those groups, we find something fascinating, that they are the names, the ones who are leading the groups are all the firstborns. So in the one section, Reuven. The next one, Ephraim, which is the eldest, which is the youngest son but older son of the house of Joseph. We'll go into that in another drosha. Then we have Dan, who was the oldest son of Zilpah. And then we have the fourth section, which is led by Judah. Now, Judah is not the firstborn. He's in fact the fourthborn of Leah. But yet he merits to lead the tribes. Not just lead the tribes, but lead all the tribes. Yehuda Ya'aleh, it says Judah goes up first. Yehuda has the elevated status of the leader of the Jewish tribes. Now, if you've got 4 sections, and we have 4 firstborns, i.e., Jacob has 4 wives, and each of the wives has a firstborn son, it would only be right that each of the firstborn sons should lead a tribe. All of them except for the tribe of Gad. Gad loses his position to Judah. Now you may respond and say, well, that's really not fair. Why should Gad give up on his special status to lead the tribes into the land of Israel? But Gad, led by the prince of Gad, Elyasaf ben Deuel, looks at it and says, really, the head tribe is Judah. And yes, I'm entitled to be first and to lead the tribe, but I'm going to forgo the honor and give it to my brother, the house of Judah. And God looks at him and says, this is a fantastic merit. And out of this merit, I'm going to do something very special to the tribe of Gad. They are going to have within them the portion, the grave of Moses. That was their reward. So they did something that wasn't expected of them, was not asked of them, but God viewed it as something incredibly special. I'd like to share with you a story. Many times we have the following in our heads. We think to ourselves, I am entitled to this. This is really mine. And then we give up on it and God rewards us in ways that we'd never imagined. I had a congregant who came to me and asked me the following question. He says, Rabbi, I have a loan out with somebody and he's paying me back interest. Is paying back interest a problem? So my first reaction was, is the person Jewish or not? He says, why, what's the difference? I say, well, if it's someone who's not Jewish, then it's a contract. And in contracts, you can use your money to make money, therefore you can charge interest. But if it's to a Jew, you are basically you can't charge interest because because we view it as handing over money to your family member. If I lend money to my child, I'm not going to charge them interest. I'll lend them the money and just want my money back. So he says to me, it's to a non-Jew. So I said, well, technically, you can keep the interest. But he says, but God doesn't like interest. I said, no. So he says, you know what? I'm going to forgo on the interest. You don't have to, but he did. Anyway, long story short, he phones me up a few weeks later. He says, Rabbi, you won't believe what has happened. I said, what? He says, I decided, based on our conversation, to forgo the interest payments, just get my money back. The person was so relieved that I'd helped him out. My lawyer was angry, but then something incredible happened. For the last 2 years, I've been trying to build on a deal, and whatever I did, there was a stumbling block. All of a sudden, all opened up. Council agreed. This one came. The bank came to the party. Everything just seemed to work out beautifully. So I said to him, Reuel. Says, my name's not Reuel. I said, yeah, but in the story of the Bible, Elyasaf becomes Reuel, becomes the friend of God. You do something out of love, out of a favor to God, God has rewarded you in a way that you never imagined. So he asked me, I don't understand. Elyasaf ben Deuel becomes Elyasaf ben Reuel, but it wasn't his father. Why does the father's name get changed? It should be his name gets changed. So I said, I don't understand. I said, how did Elyasaf know what to do and to act in this way in accordance with being a friend of God? It's because his father had taught him these values. And thus the father's name gets changed. It is the values that were taught to us by our parents and that we teach to our children that ultimately impact on who we are and what we do. So you want to be a friend of God and receive incredible blessings? It's very simple. Listen to what God has to say, and then listen to what God has to say. We don't charge interest. We can forgo our covered, and when God sees this, He grants us incredible blessings. Elyasaf ben Deuel is his name. Elyasaf ben Reuel is his status. Anyone and each and every one of us should surely strive to become a friend of God, someone that God can look at and say, that's my person. Shabbat Shalom.